Good morning. Good morning.
Look at this guy. Look like he about to go hunting and fishing at the same time.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
No way
So
to
we
really-
are live, y'all. Wow. We are on YouTube. Let me get over that channel. All right. So with that being said, everybody, welcome to Mornings with Movers. This is our first episode on YouTube.
Yeah.
27
Hey.
episodes in, and we
Yes,
are
sir.
still crushing it. Let's go. So again, I'm Dwight with Max Moving Training. We got Phil Diamond all about moving Tampa Bay. We got Jonathan Paris in the building. I'm going to let him introduce his company today.
Oh yeah, it's Jonathan with Paris Moving and Junk Removal.
Sweet. So how's it going? Tell us about yourself, Paris. Jonathan.
It's going pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I own Paris Moving and Junk Removal. We've been in business for about 8 or 9 years. Kind of started with one little truck and trailer and kind of worked our way up the line. So I've known Phil for many years, and we've kind of networked together through the process. And it's been a great journey so far. So we'll see kind of how the moving industry is. So it's definitely changed from what it was. So we're kind of gonna see what the future predicts, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely volatile right now for sure. And I think a lot of people are definitely feeling it and trying to figure out where they go with what's going on in the economy, like how to find work, how to do something.
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest problem in our area, specifically in Florida, is there's not really heavy regulations on licensing and insurance. So obviously, when you get to a certain point, you're doing higher end jobs. But a lot of these people nowadays, with the current economy and how expensive it is, people are starting to kind of budget things. So they're trying to shop around. So that's the biggest thing when you have to try to sell your customers, making sure they understand you're getting a quote from a legit company, not just a guy with a U-Haul truck. Because there's a lot of companies that don't even own trucks that rent from Budget or Penske or U-Haul, and they pretend like they have a real operation. So
yeah, and I've been seeing that a lot up here in my area in upstate New York, where I'm actually in the country area where I live, and I was like, okay, well, let me see who the moving company competitors are up here. And you see all these guys with U-Haul trucks on their Google, probably like 100 and something reviews, and just like, geez, wow. Is it the economy or is it the market up here that is like you're not able to have trucks or that many trucks?
Yeah, well, a new truck. I know I stopped at a local dealership here. I think a new 2022, 23 F750. I think it was like 110, 120,000. Your insurance down here in Florida can range anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month. Depending on how many trucks you have. That's like my insurance is about $1,000 a month. That's for 2 trucks that are paid for. So if let's say you have 5, 6, 7 that some are not paid for, and so on and so forth, that could be a huge expense on your company. So
yeah, no, I definitely hear that. I think up here in New York, I don't know. When you hear the prices up here, you start to think insurance is scam.
Oh yeah, Florida. Florida's insane too. Everything is going up so high. My renewal's coming up in December, and I've already started running quotes. Like one company wanted, I think, double what I was paying. I haven't got a renewal back from my current company, so we'll see. But it's totally it's insane. I'm sure Phil knows the price of diesel is so high, almost $4.50 a gallon. We pay our guys pretty well. I don't expect to pay my guy. None of my guys are making $10 an hour. All our guys are, we want good workers. We don't want, we don't want cheap guys that don't know what they're doing, because obviously it's going to come back on your company.
See, and that's the thing. It's the thing where people start to feel like they're warranted that type of money. You say, hey, I want to pay my movers $25, $30 an hour. Some people, that's absurd like that. And they're like, oh yeah, I want to pay my guys this much because, I expect a lot out of them. But then they start to feel like I'm worth $25 or $30. And then they start to get too comfortable and like, hey, I've been here for 6 months. Do I get a raise?
Yeah.
Right. How about 6 days? They want to raise in 6 days.
6 days, that's crazy.
Then they get like some people get that check of $1,000 in a week on that Friday, and then by Monday, like, hey, can I borrow a little bit of money because I can't pay this bill? I'm like, what the hell just happened to your money?
Hell yeah.
That's just the type of cut,
they call that going up in smoke. They call that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's your type of employee on something. Unfortunately, some of those guys have commitments, or they got 4 different baby mamas, and they're spending money they don't even have. So that's why they're so desperate. They want to work 60, 80 hours a week. But then I have guys that obviously they don't mind the slower time seasons because they already have money saved. They're not blowing through, so they don't mind taking a couple days or taking a week off. I mean, they're cool doing that because they already know that the season. Like, I mean, my one brother-in-law, he's been with me for years now, and he knows, like, hey, we're kind of going to the slower time, so he already prepared for that. So that's why we do other things too, not just the moving, so it works out pretty good.
Yeah, no, makes sense. I think I know you mentioned junk removal earlier in your company name, and I think I love junk removal. One of the things about junk removal is it's like stress-free. Let me toss this thing. Let me, exert a little strength and get my anger out because, hey, I don't have to take care of this.
Well, and you also learn the durability of furniture. When it's trash, you can kind of manhandle that and throw it in, and you'll kind of see how cheap a lot of this stuff they make nowadays is, and how fast you just touch this piece wrong and it collapses to pieces. Versus getting a nice piece, you're like, wow, that thing's pretty solid. It's one of those things. And our area specifically in Florida in Pinellas County, we're so overran by junk removal companies. I mean, everywhere you look, there's a little Isuzu or a little truck with a little roll-off trailer, and they pop up everywhere. But that's also a non-regulated business. There's no license needed. There's no insurance needed, which is kind of crazy because there's certain things that you can't be dumping with our trash. Chemicals and metal has to be separated. A lot of people don't know that and don't care. They just want they want the cheapest they can find, and
I'm very I'm actually inspired by you because I feel like with junk removal, when I was in Florida, people were just putting junk right on the corner, and it was just like, well, they're not worried about it. Why would they want to pay for somebody to come and pick it up? So for you to have the success you're having is just like great.
Yeah, I mean, I just run one dump trailer. I just kind of, I do my, my own thing, and I'll rent it out and stuff like that. But I mean, but a lot of times people, they just want the cheapest price they can get, and then they find out, someone illegally dumped that somewhere, and then they find their name, and then they come after them for an illegal dumping fee, So.
Gotcha.
Hey, he said rent out unless you're good, unless you have a good friend named Phil that just come by and picks it up for free.
Yeah, but Philip can't. He doesn't know how to use the jack, so he got.
It was different. It was different than the one on mine, man. I got so pissed off too. I'm like, man, fuck this shit.
Yeah, I was fishing that day, so I didn't even. I'm like, what do you mean you couldn't figure out how to lower the jack down?
I didn't want to start. Well, Lindsay told me. She said, "Oh, you got to take that hammer." And I'm like, "I'm not taking a hammer. I'm just gonna leave it. I'll work with what we got."
You try to put your dump container down?
Well, no, I have a dump trailer. Philip was gonna borrow it one day, but he couldn't figure out the winch. You have to lower it down. You have to pull the pin to raise the leg. I don't think you could figure that out.
Yeah, man.
His hitch might have been too low. Though. Your hitch might have been too low, and you might have ran out of room to lower. That might have been an issue too.
Sound like somebody learning standard for the first time type of thing.
Right. Yeah, I think he was here like 5 o'clock in the morning too. So I think my neighbor told me the next day, hey, there was some guy out here messing with your trailer in the morning. He said he couldn't figure it out. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Phil. I know that guy.
Well, you didn't have to worry about nobody stealing that.
I know.
Especially me.
Especially Philip.
Hey, man, that's crazy, man. That's funny. I called Lindsay. She's like, Phil, I don't know. I see him every now and again with a hammer, and I'm like, I'm not using a hammer.
I don't know what a hammer.
She's like, I hear him beating on it every now and again. I'm like, yeah, no. But
yeah,
it's funny, man.
So I know one of the things I know with everything slowing down and stuff like that, it's, it used to be that point where we were able to, hey, we had so much influx of work, we were able to call the next moving company and say, hey, or refer the next moving company, hey, can you guys take this job, or whatever the case is. I think this year, one of the lessons I learned is, if these guys aren't bigger companies that are, have some type of brand behind their name, been around for a long time, I'm definitely watching my referrals, because I definitely had the issue this year where I referred it to somebody that I thought was, reasonable, good guy. Next thing you know, the customer kept pushing off the move, and the customer was in my storage, so it was weird. So they kept pushing off the move because, whether they financial reasons or whatever the case is, and then the day of the move, the mover ghosted, and I was like, what? I thought that one was at least locked in.
It happens a lot. That happens more than you think, especially in our area. But I can tell you for sure, last year I think was our best year in business. I can't. When I was, I did my taxes, I just couldn't believe the amount of business that we did last year. But it's like I tell Philip, the housing market now is so. First off, it's so expensive. The interest rates are so high, and the average home, in Pinellas County is about $320 to $350. That's like 1,000 square foot if you're lucky. Maybe a 2-1, a 3-1. So a lot of people are kind of hanging out. I feel like people are waiting, or they're moving apartments. They're moving from apartment to apartment, or obviously, you have your clients that, are buying those, $500,000 houses above. We do people that are moving to these new builds, and, but it's not as common. People are just moving around, and people are shopping their rents around. They're trying to find the best deal. So the market is just so different from what we're used to seeing. And it's just one of those things. So I watch the moving groups, and I see a lot of guys posting, dude, it's like the slowest we've ever been. Nothing's coming in. It's so weird. And like I tell Phil, you have to kind of have a backup for that. You can't rely on just straight moving. Luckily for us, all of our equipment's paid for. We don't have loans, or all of our trucks are paid for. Like Phil, a lot of his trucks are paid for, so we can kind of we're not so stressed. Some of these people go out and get a bank note for 120, and then they're paying, for a facility and all that, which, obviously if you're not making it, you're stressing, so.
Exactly.
No, that makes sense. So I guess, what avenues have you guys found that has been working a little bit more efficiently when it comes to like marketing or something?
Word of mouth is the best advertisement I've ever utilized. Even Philip should know that. A lot of our clients that we've used, will refer down the road. Google is Google. You can compete, but at the end of the day, it's whoever has the deepest pockets. You get guys out there clicking on your stuff all day. You ran up $300 that day, and you're like, damn, I didn't get one call. So.
Yeah, no, Google's definitely a black hole if you don't have somebody to manage that channel.
Yeah.
Or you getting U-Haul calls.
Yeah.
Me, you getting spent like $5,000 in U-Haul calls.
Yeah, you may be. It's just hit or miss. Yelp used to be pretty good too, but I think even Yelp is a hit or miss, and I feel like some of those avenues are scam. I think they put fake leads out there for you to respond to, and there's no one even there. Like I had one on what's that, Angie Leads or something like that, and I have the program with them where I can pay for what I want. I see everything coming in, and I can click and take what I want. But I just watch them coming in, and a lot of these are just bogus. People want a freaking mattress returned to Big Lots. Like, what the hell?
I just talked about that last week.
I'm not going to take your mattress back to Big Lots or your thing back to freaking Lowe's or Home Depot. So those are just really, and you got to pay $30, $35 for that lead. And what are you going to charge a person to make it even worth it for you guys? So
well, one of the things I explored when I was in Florida was that there were some movers who had contracts with Big Lots. So when I went there and I had got my bed set, just moving to Florida, they was like, oh, well, we don't do the delivery, but we have some contracted movers.
Third party. Yeah.
So they was like, we can give you a quote, and they'll call you to set up a date for delivery. And again, and that's how I made a really good friend out there, where the guy that moved me, I ended up knowing him, and even though the rates were super low, it was like, we're talking about two guys, a truck for $105 an hour low. And I was like, Well, good to you. I could never compete with those rates.
That's volume. So they're doing business on a volume level, so that's why they work so cheap, but they're working nonstop. It's almost like the appliance delivery business. I mean, I see they always looking for people to do that, but they only pay, I think, so much per delivery. So you have to rock out 10, 20, 30 deliveries a day, or you're not really making anything.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. Either you're going to work yourself to death for pennies, or you're going to kind of scale back and try to look for quality moves. And, I mean, there's no sense of running up, time on your trucks, making, I don't know, in my opinion, not making much, because the more wear and tear, the more stuff's going to break. So it's
No, it definitely makes sense. And I don't even know how you cover insurance with prices like that. I've always just tried to, like, I can really get intricate with the numbers, but to think, okay, 105, my damn insurance is going to be like in New York, my insurance is $80,000 easily a year.
80 grand for what? Commercial trucking insurance?
Yeah. Well, that's
wow.
Yeah, that's commercial. Yeah. So 80 grand covers 4 trucks. Ridiculous price.
That's insane.
But yeah, who you telling? But that's in New York, they have the minimum of 750,000 in coverage, but you have to, because of your lease vehicles, you have to have 1 million.
Wow.
So that right there alone, 1 million per truck, and then hey, how much are your trucks worth? Well, they're at least all over 100 grand. So, we got to make sure we can cover the damage if something ever happens to it. So we're gonna give you another 40 grand on top of that. Well, God damn.
How does your cargo insurance work up there?
You like crap. The cargo insurance is cheap.
Well, yeah, but for us, it's 60 cents a pound. I mean, it's 60 cents a pound. What the hell? I mean, that's nothing. You're paying.
It's
nothing.
30 and it's 30 in New York, ain't it, Dwight?
30 cents a pound.
Yeah, 30 cents.
Yeah. So what I did, I don't even buy cargo insurance no more. I got a surety bond. So but you still sell that 60 cents on the pound, but I still have a surety bond. That way, that's a one-time thing. I think it was like maybe $1,500 for the year.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything ever happens, let's say they pay out. Let's say you have a catastrophic event where they have to pay the customer out. They go after you to reimburse you. But that way, you're not paying $2,000-$3,000 a year for cargo insurance that you're never going to use and it's never going to work anyways.
So, yeah, no, that makes sense. I got to definitely look into those surety bonds. But yeah. I think with it's so weird because you get all of these different insurance policies and they all cover some angle of your process or your operation. Oh, well, hey, we got into a fender bender. Okay, well, that's going to be your auto where, it's going to be this type of policy. Well, somebody hit our truck while we were sleeping at night. Oh, well, that's a whole different type of insurance right there, but it's auto, but it's a whole different part of the auto division. Oh, well, we, our truck flipped and the customer stuff was in the belonging. Oh, well, that's cargo. Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, our guys was carrying a furniture piece outside the truck and it slipped out of one of the guys' hands. Well, that's general liability. God damn, can it be just one thing?
Right.
Yeah. I've never made an insurance claim for any piece of furniture in my whole year.
Yeah, you don't want to either because you hear the horror stories of them raising your premiums ridiculously.
Well, on top of that too, with the cargo insurance, you have a deductible anyway. I think ours is, of course, the customer pays $250. On the 60 cents on the pound.
What deductible?
Yeah, I just follow the process. Our process is 3 strikes. We get first client touch base. We explain the 60 cents on the pound verbally. Okay, boom, they decline it verbally. So they get another email with their quote, of course, stating the 60 cents on the pound. They sign off if they want 60 cents on the pound or they want additional insurance options. They decline or accept. Move It Pro now is integrated with movinginsurance.com, so it's made it a little bit easier for that client, right? So the third step is someone reaches out and we send another email saying that they've declined insurance coverage for anything or value, and they sign off on it again. That way, when something happens, they've signed off on it 3 times. because the biggest problem is what I've heard is it hasn't been explained. The customer hasn't been educated. You know, if you take the time and educate the customer, guess what? You ain't got to worry about, you ain't got too much worry about it. I mean, things happen, and if you go to a car lot and buy $80,000 car and drive off the lot, it depreciated 20%. If you didn't take gap insurance, and as Jonathan knows, because he's had several cars stolen, the same car a few times, not having gap insurance, guess what? If you go to that insurance carrier and tell them, oh, well, I didn't purchase the gap insurance, guess what they're going to say? They're not just going to give it to you.
Yeah, but most dealers don't ever tell people about the gap insurance. Like, you have to know what, because I ran into that issue when I bought my first car, and it was like $10,000. And I think it got totaled or whatever the case is. And it was like, oh, well, yeah, you're going to have to cover the difference. And I was like, what? So I ended up having to cover the difference. And they're like, yeah, but if you get the gap insurance or umbrella coverage, you can definitely not have to worry about that. And I was like, ever since then, anytime I finance the car, hey, I want this. He was like, oh, yeah, we'll put it on there. Because they damn sure wasn't going to just tell you about it because they weren't about trying to make the sale.
Yeah, but I don't care what anybody tells you. You still have a problem. Something happens. They're going to still play down. They didn't know. Oh, I didn't know that was it. That's why I have them sign in person. That way, here, this is what you get. This is what it's covered for. Sign here. That way, here, you sign it right here in front of all of us. There's no, oh, I didn't know, or hey, I didn't sign it. My wife signed it. I didn't, just one of those things, But I've never had a problem with the 60 cents on the pound. At the end of the day, you're going to cover that probably for your customer instead of getting a bad review. So it's like a double-edged sword. So you can blame 60 cents on the pound, but if something ever happened, you're probably going to cover it to not get, blasted. I think it's more for a catastrophic incident. Let's say your truck rolls off the highway and everything is, thrown all over the place. Then I think you're going to say, hey, this is what you're covered for. Unfortunately, it was a freak accident. So.
Yeah, we do have them sign it at the beginning of the move as well. And because in New York, you actually do offer 3 options. So there's 2 free options, which really the second one is your cargo. So like if somebody says, well, the most you can offer with the second option is like $2,500 lump sum in case of total loss. So that's pretty much your cargo insurance right there. And then the first one is the 30 cents per pound. So those are 2 free options.
30 cents a pound. You might as well not even present that bullshit.
Yeah, well, you still got to say it.
30 cents a pound. What the hell would you bring your quarters from the laundromat with you? Here you go.
Right? That's
insane, dude. 30 cents a pound. Like, why even? I wouldn't even have the guts to even tell somebody that. I try to educate people and tell them, like, do you know what you're even covered for? And half of them say, no, I don't. Oh, well, you're only covered for 60 cents on the pound. That's what, the state requires us to carry. So, hire wisely. That's what I try to tell them. Maybe hire someone that knows what they're doing, or, you're really shit out of luck. But
yeah, 60 cents don't make it any better, but you
that's another slap in the face. It's like, what?
Oh yeah.
And you're paying for that. You got to pay, $2,000-$3,000 a month, for that coverage. It's like for what? What am I covering, that for? So.
Well, in Florida, one of the advantages y'all got is that y'all can sell valuation. And I don't know if Phil, you've been selling it in-house, but it's one of those things where it can make you a lot of money. Now, I've seen guys, make an extra $80,000 across the year just by selling valuation.
Yeah, I feel like that's only select customers, though. I mean, if you have someone that has high-end stuff and knows what they have, sure. But some of these people, they're just moving across the town. They're like, oh, I'm only going 5 miles down the road. And, I tell people, hey, you're only going 20, 30 minutes. Take all your valuable stuff. We'll get the rest. But if you want to, hey, we'll sell you additional insurance. But I don't want nobody to really get in that thing where, oh, this is broken, that's broken, this is broken. How does that work with your insurance? I don't even want to go into that route. I want your move to be smooth. There's no bullshit involved because I can't,
Yeah, that's a double-edged sword. Yeah. But the thing is, what people have been doing that I see that works is that they are incorporating that valuation charge into their scope. So they're saying, well, hey, so if you we based off your items, we are seeing that we can bring you $60,000 or $100,000 in coverage, but here's what you're looking at for your total quote. And then when the customer says, oh, valuation, what is that? Well, this is what's going to cover you up to $100,000 in case something happens. And they say, well, hey, if they have to physically opt out of it, versus you posing that option to them up front and saying, hey, would you want it? So now it's almost like asking a customer, hey, when you have a customer at the end of the job, hey, do you want to leave the guys a tip? And the movers got you on speaker. So it's like, do you want to leave the guys a tip? And they have to verbally say, no, I don't want to leave the guys a tip. You know, so it's kind of like that pressure or duress where you don't want to put the customer in that situation, but you also want to let them know that, hey, you know what, 30 or 60 cents isn't going to cover you either.
Yeah, but once you tell them like, hey, your valuation is $100,000, you bet your ass they're going through everything they got. Oh, I didn't remember that scratch. I don't remember that. I don't remember this. Now all your fucking movers are detectives. They got to freaking shake down every piece, look for everything, you know. And now your move that should have taken 4 or 5 hours is taking 8 hours because you got to fucking look at everything, and then everything's got to be wrapped down to the fucking, you know, the slats on the bed. So, and some people I've learned that some people don't want to pay for a full, you know, pad wrapping, and you know the furniture they have is not even worth, you know, a full pad wrap move. And some people want, you know, and some people do want a full pad wrap. So I think it's customer by customer basis on the best approach for that. But I think if you offer, you know, let them know like, hey, you are covered for $100,000, they're gonna start looking for shit to, you know, my nightstand didn't look like that. Oh, now it's a little shaky. How does that work? It's like, oh boy.
Yeah. Well, hey, like Phil got that deductible $250, so it got to be worth it for them to even want to pay that deductible to start a claim.
Oh yeah, that's it, man. But you know, when when movinginsurance.com, man, you know, we get a and I think maybe I'll tell you actually the numbers. I think we sell maybe 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 a month. And I mean, they give us a 20% kickback on it, and they deal with it. You know, they send us an email and let us know, just say, we have a very high-end move next month, and I think they validated about $2 million in artwork. So you know what the insurance said? Crate all of it. Crate it all. You know, and that, you know what? It good for us. You know what I mean? So, you know, it kind of works out. I mean, you definitely don't want to be pad wrapping and throwing $2 million. I mean, it wasn't about 4 or 5 pieces in art boxes and throwing in the truck. Anyway,
yeah, you got $2 million in art. You're gonna move that shit your damn self. I'm not even not even interested. You got Mona Lisa on the wall. You better pack that bitch in your Range Rover, and you're gonna drive it to your new house.
Oh, when you see these beautiful statues that be outside their house, and they're like, oh, can you guys move this? Nope.
I've already done one. There was one. It was a hand carved marble one from I think Asia or something. We brought the crane in. We had to crane it off, crane it onto the truck, crane on the other side, and that was like $3,500, you know, right around town. But you know, that's not something you do every day. That's a once in a while. That's like rare to see someone pass something like that.
Yeah, he called me talking about, hey, you ever done? Hell no, I wouldn't even touch that shit.
I'm still telling them 60 cents on a pound. Here you go. That's what you're covered for in case that statue falls out the damn air. Just so you know. So,
yeah, we've seen in New York City. I've only ever seen it. I never explored it, but it's one of those things where you see people get the pianos hoisted up all the way up to the top building and put it into their window. I'm like, you done lost your darn mind.
That's why
you see it on TV. You see it on TV. That's what you see on TV, ain't it? When the movers got a one-piece on.
Right. At first I thought before I started this industry, I thought that was a thing. I was like, oh, they wear the jumpers?
That's what I thought too, bro. I'm like, I don't want my guys to wear no jumpers or one piece.
Yeah, but craning a piano, that's insane. I mean, your insurance, that's why you're paying $80,000 a year for insurance. You guys are trying to crane shit over houses and buildings, and you know.
I think you get put in all types of situations when it comes to moving. Like, you know, we had this one house where we were moving this customer in this apartment building. She said, hey, nothing could go down the stairs because of how big it is and how narrow the staircase is. And this furniture won't fit in the elevator. How the hell you get it in the building?
Yeah, how to get up here in the first place.
She said,
they put it in before they put the roof on the house.
She said, you got to go through the other apartment, which is a mock apartment, go through the other apartment and hoist everything over the balcony.
Damn.
So we brought the sofa and everything through the mock furniture house, and the truck itself, we had a U-Haul at the time. The truck itself was right underneath the balcony, so you was able to put the sofa on top of the truck, slide it on down to the guys, and then get in the truck. I'm like, this is not ideal.
Well, that's why you're selling your time hourly. That's why, hey, we're all hourly based, so we'll be here all damn night as long as you're paying. So,
We had another customer one time who had a dresser, and the dresser, as soon as you go down the stairs, it was like you had to make an immediate right or immediate left. You couldn't stand the dresser up, and you couldn't like go straight because you'll hit a wall. So I'm like, well, this dresser isn't getting out, miss. Like, how do you get this dresser in here? Well, the last time the movers, they had to take out the window and then and then put the dresser through the window. And then I'm like, but miss, you're on the second floor. How do you get it down? He's like, oh, well, my neighbor, they got an extended ladder. You think that'll work?
Hell no.
Nah, that dresser's gonna stay right where it's at.
They're like, hey, you climb up on the ladder, ma'am. You climb up, I'll hold the ladder.
So that's basically what I ended up having to do was basically I ended up going on the ladder, but I had to have one guy who had a ratchet strap tied around the dresser so it wouldn't slide down too fast. And then I had one guy holding the bottom of the ladder, and this is the winter, so it's brick cold, and we're slide down this dresser off an extended ladder, trying to get all the way down to the bottom, just so we can get this piece out of the house.
I've done plenty of hoisting, but it's just really it's depending on what the piece is, and at the end of the day, is the risk worth the reward? You know, just like baby grand pianos. If you tell me that piano is $50,000. I'm not moving it for $500. That risk is not worth the reward, in my opinion. So
I never understood that part about piano movers. Where they, granted they have the house move as well, but it's like $500 for a piano. That's $5,000.
That's $50,000. You got a custom Baldwin baby grand. You want to pay what? Like, nah, I'm good. Not even entertaining that bullshit. You can have someone else do take the rest of the house. That's what I'm saying. The risk is not worth the reward. I said I'd rather sub that out, and then let's say you sub it to a piano guy that throws you a kickback. That way, hey, you know what? If something happens, it's on him. I still made a little money. It's good.
Mm-hmm. So. Now, how do you find pricing junk removal? Like how do you find that to be efficient? Like, what is your pricing model when it comes to something like that?
Yeah, so junk removal is all different because here in Florida, we have to pay per ton to dump it. So it just raised up now. I think it's like $51 or $53 per 2,000 pounds.
That's
beautiful. But if you put stuff in the bed of a truck, like you have a pickup truck, I think it's $12 flat. Doesn't matter how heavy it is. So, I mean, you can haul a couch for, if it's outside, you can haul a couch for, $50, let's say. You put 4 couches in your pickup truck, let's say, and you've done it for $12. $200. I mean, it's that's majority. That's profit. It's easy money. You're in and out pretty quick.
Yeah.
To load that up, but sometimes you have to load the dump trailer, and it's all weight. So you have to kind of learn what you're putting in there. So, or like when I rent it out, I'll do like $200 to rent it plus your dump fee. So I'll just give them the receipt afterward. Like, hey, your $200 plus your dump fee was, $51. You dumped 2,000 pounds. Here you go. So they'll pay that on top of their, $200. So
no, that makes sense.
Do it so long. Yeah, but sometimes if you show me a picture, I can kind of estimate what it's going to cost me, so I'll just incorporate that in the total price. So
yeah, we so when we do junk removal, we were doing it's $93 for 1,000 pounds, the first 1,000 pounds.
Wow.
And then it's like I think it's 125 for up to 2,000. So
that's crazy. You live in a crazy ass state, man.
So we charge, I think we came out charging like a flat rate of like $375 for, the first 1,000, and anything over we charge 200 or something like that. But then you get hit with all these extra fees from the disposal yard. Oh, well, if you dump tires or you dump a mattress is going to cost you an extra $100. You're like, okay.
What?
Yeah, it's specific things. You can't dump any refrigerators or anything like that.
Yeah, all that has to be scrapped. Yeah, because the refrigerant has to be taken out of the machine.
Yeah, so they're very specific. So we have to ask those detailed questions. We can't just say, "Hey, how many items you got?" You got to really detail what items they have, because obviously the extra $100 will wipe your profit out real fast.
Well, that takes you back to what I was telling you earlier. Is here in Florida, it's not regulated. So anybody can just go haul junk. There's no licensing. There's no insurance. There's no, hey, know what you're hauling, know what you're throwing away. It just doesn't matter. So now you have guys that are all underbidding everybody. That's the problem. It's when you have 5 guys that you start with the licensed guy that's got a legit business. All right, we'll do it for 100. Now you have Joe Blow come and say, we'll do it for 75. Then you got another guy, we'll do it for 40. You're like, what the hell? I compare that kind of business almost to house cleaning, because house cleaning is the most undercut business. There's so many people that will do everything for less. It's a totally crazy thing, and people don't understand. When you start undercutting your work, people start valuing you less. Once you're not going to call the contractor and say, hey, I only want to pay you $20 an hour to build a house. They're going to say, nah, go fuck yourself. So, once
I get that.
You start lowering your standards and start taking these jobs for less than you're worth, I think you start really ruining the industry. And that's kind of how I feel.
$95 an hour. $85 an hour. $95 an hour.
That's what I was charging when I first started, was $95 an hour. And I was like, man, that's pretty good. And now I see guys now charging about what? Who's that one guy? He's charging 110 an hour for 2 guys. And I'm like,
the dude with the tape truck.
Yeah.
The dude with the tape, he's got duct tape on his truck with the letters. Yeah, I call him a duct tape dude. This is the only guy I know. He markets, man. And I'm like, why are you marketing carrying a dresser down with the damn drawers opening, none wrapped? That's not a market strategy, man. And he posts his picture like he's proud of it. But once again, you got to look at the value, right? But a lot of people, man, you can't really look at. I just explained this to another moving company the other day. It's basic math, right? You're losing, and Dwight, man, you've discussed this, right? So we collect quotes from several different moving companies in the area, right? And we kind of compare to what we're charging, right? Now, you get companies that's charging $120, $130 an hour, right? And now they've included a mattress bag, yada, 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 right? Then you got a guy that's charging 100 and whatever dollars an hour. Ain't nothing free, right? It's all about knowing your numbers, right? Right? So, of course, we lowered our hourly rates. Guess what else went up? Mattress bags, TV box rentals, everything else went up to go right back to where we were at. It's just like going into a store and buying something, right? And you see this on sale, but you got to have this for it to operate, right? Guess what? That thing that it needs to operate has been marked up, right? So it's all about numbers, man. At the end of the day, it's all a numbers game, just like in the car business or whatever. I think we're at about $20 a mattress bag now. We lowered our hourly rate. We lowered our hourly rate a little bit to accommodate, of course, because you start getting, we was hitting 120 moves a month at some months. Now we're down to like 80 fucking this month. Luckily we got this freaking 300,000 square foot office move coming up, but dude, the numbers are just down, and you have to adjust to what the market is telling you. If you keep getting, emails from, call center or whoever's answering your phone saying, hey, man, the numbers are down, you have to adjust. You have to. If not, you're just going to have a whole bunch of nothing going on. So, lowering your rate sometimes is not the worst case scenario. I don't understand summer rates and winter rates. I never understood it. I'm sure you haven't, Jonathan. Like, people are charging summer rate. I'm like, well, hold on. What are the guys working for less in the winter? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's
because they're slower. But Florida, it's hot as hell year round, so there is no winter race.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Must be nice.
That's not north stuff. That's not north.
But you know what? Guys around here are doing it. They call it weekday rates. What the hell is a weekday rate?
Yeah, I've heard guys charge more on the weekends. There's some guys that will charge to wrap your stuff. There's guys that will charge. I've heard one customer tell me they want to charge me if there's so many steps, how far they're walking to the truck. I'm like, what?
But you know what, Jonathan? At the end of the day, the bottom line is still the same.
That's right? A bait and switch, though. That's what I tell them. That's a bait and switch kind of move,
Yeah.
I don't like operating like that. I don't like having to pull out a fucking calculator, calculating all these. Oh, we use 2 rolls of tape. That's $30. And they're later like, what the fuck? So that's a schemy business practice. And I don't like operating like that. And I don't think I'll ever I don't ever
no.
want to, try to scheme my customer. I want to make them understand what they're paying for. This is what it is. We're not charging you for this. This is what you are being charged for. That way everybody knows there's no, confrontation at the end. Like, oh, I didn't know. Or, hey, this is really a scammy business you're running. Nah, I don't want to work like that.
I wouldn't be like, hide it and say, well, hey, yeah, we end up using 2 rolls of tape at the end of the job, but I definitely would say, hey, at the beginning of the job while I'm quoting them, hey, you know what, they got a mattress, okay, they need a mattress bag, unless they got their own mattress bag, okay, they got
Exactly.
well, hey, you need a TV box, we're not moving it without a TV box. Or what else? Oh, we do charge for shrink wrap as well. Hey, you know what, you gotta look,
Yeah,
like
but don't do it
you
at
gotta
the
lower
end
your
though.
prices. Go ahead.
I definitely don't do it at the end. That's why everything goes in black and white. Because unfortunately, man, what I've noticed in this industry, man, is a lot of customers don't like you being straightforward with them, right? You provided, we take everything down to the damn box. We want to know what the hell we're dealing with. The reasoning for that is, of course, you're gathering data because, it may be a 3 or 4 hour job. That way you can schedule, when you have multiple trucks, you can schedule something behind it. And of course, it gives you the opportunity to upsell services that you also provide. Packing, whether it's a kitchen pack. I mean, I can't tell you how many kitchen packs a month we do by just following back up saying, hey, how's the packing going? How about that kitchen that you don't like?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about, we're all here to provide a service. But, I like Jonathan said, and this is why me and him have done so well together. I mean, me and Jonathan has gotten down to the point to where, he's called me on Thanksgiving. Hey, Phil, I'm like, what? Man, it's Thanksgiving. I forgot I had a job. And I'm like, oh, man, you got anybody? I'm like, no, but guess what, bro? I'll come help you. And of course, hey, Jonathan, what? I'm moving this spot. I don't know how to fucking move it. And guess what? Here I come, Phil. You know what? At the end of the day, we never ask each other for anything. We're just friends. At the end of the day, we don't even say, "Hey, man, here's some lunch money." No. We just walk the fucking hell away. You know why, dude? Because we both have the same business mind. And the relationship that me and Jonathan have built, I think a lot of people now in the area are starting to get a little jealous of it. Because at the end of the day, I keep hearing, some things that's being said, yada, yada, yada. And it's mainly jealousy. Like, we've never overstepped each other's boundaries, right? As far as pricing, hell, we went through last year and, maybe the year before last, and we kind of crunched our brains together. And dude, Jonathan's literally 10 miles away from me, if that. Direct competitor.
10 miles, 10 minutes.
Direct competitor, like literally. Yeah. And, I'm telling him where I'm marketing at to try to help, and he's telling me what he's doing. I mean, just trying to help out. And, we even share jobs and everything,
Hold up, Phil. So is it 10 miles or 10 minutes? Because we know 10 miles is like 40 minutes in Florida.
It's 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah, 10 minutes. But, man, that's the relationship that, that should be built, man, because a lot of moving company owners don't like each other for whatever reason. You know what I mean? And it's silly. Why would you not want to? Yeah, why would you not want to be friends with someone that, like we take for last week or week before last, for instance, my guys were out moving a safe in our lift gate, the chain or something broke. Of course, who I call? My first call. Jonathan, go move it safe.
That's big too.
Hell yeah. And you know what? At the end of the day, man, now, and I know things that went south on jobs that he sent over, and I know some things that went south on some jobs that I sent over to him. Guess what? Never heard anything from a customer, right? Because guess what? It was taken care of. That's the whole thing, man. You don't want to be out here referring somebody to somebody that's not taking care of something. And, that's the objective right there, because for the last month, dude, I just had to tell my wife, do not accept any more jobs from them. So for the last month, we've been taking a lot of jobs from this other moving company, not going to say their names. And every job's a shit show, bro. Every job. I mean, literally Saturday, we had to call it. And very seldom do I have an argument about a bill, because we've already been transparent, now that we have our systems in place, right? Literally had to damn near call the police on the call the police on the customer, dude, because she didn't want to pay her bill.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, the last guys, well, what company is this? I wonder why the guy was like, hey, you got any unmarked vehicles? And I'm like, what? Yeah. And then the guys got there, of course, and she's like, oh, are you guys with blank movers? And the guy was like, yeah, why y'all shirts say that? Of course, I'll never do it again, dude. And they provided a move for this young lady with one stop for, let's say, I think it was like $1,200 for like 6 hours. They're charging, and she had 2 additional stops, so the bill was like $1,800. So she comes, this is like 7 hours or something like that for 3 guys or something like that. And he comes and tried to hand the guy $1,000, talking about I'll pay y'all on the rest on Monday.
I ain't leave without my money.
Oh man, I'm sorry, but guess what? When the police came, guess what? Magically appeared. They had more money. Oh, here's $50 a piece tip, guys. Yada yada. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just didn't realize I had this additional money. But
well, you're lucky because that only happens in Florida. Cops come and like, hey, why you called me?
Well,
like,
it's a civil matter, though.
Huh?
It's a civil matter. I've already been there. I've already been there and done that. So it comes down to really a civil matter. It's officer by officer basis. If they want to help you, they will. But some, I've already been down that road where I had a customer try to do the same exact thing, but the officer that arrived, she had a business making those Yeti cup tumbler things. So she understood what it was like to be cheated out of money. So she went and she told me like, hey, this is really a civil matter, because obviously it's contract, blah, blah, blah. But, let me see what I can do for you. And she, she ended up she told the lady like, hey, either you pay I think it was a 2-hour job. $355. She said, you're going to pay the $355 or they're going to come in the house and take $355 worth of stuff out of here. She had to have a family member pay the bill. She didn't even have the money. She didn't have no money. She thought
it's more of a scare tactic. It's more of a scare tactic because that's what happened in that situation,
Yeah. She paid the damn bill, though.
It was more of a scare tactic, and it sucks, dude. The people,
it's just disgusting. That's why I've learned that not every customer is meant to be your customer. That's why I've kind of accepted. I'm happy with it. I'd rather pick and choose who I work with that way. I might not be the busiest guy on the block, but I'm not stressed to death. And I know what's going on. I know the customer. I know everything's getting done right. And at the end of the day, it's okay with me. I don't have to have 20 trucks on the road doing every single move available. And then you're at home that night getting all these bad reviews and bad complaints. And it's like, oh my God, forget it.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that, Jonathan? He's like me, man. Me and Jonathan's always been this way about the reviews, man.
Yeah.
Jonathan's got a good reputation as well in this area, and there's very few of us, that does, and it's just good business practice, man. You know what I mean? Those reviews matter, man. I read reviews now. I didn't before, but shit, man, before I go to a mechanic shop, I want to read reviews everywhere. And then I interview now. Like the new diesel shop that we got, I literally told them I come over there and I want to interview. I went and pulled their DUNS number. I went and checked their business credit. Every damn thing.
Damn.
Bill out here doing research.
Oh man, because the thing of it is, bro, I keep getting screwed by these mechanics like a lot of us do. You know what? Let me do let me see if you got the money when I get ready to sue you. Because I'm going to sue you. Better believe that.
But reviews can also be a double-edged sword. Some people will use that, as like a blackmail. Like, hey, if you don't give me my money back, I'm going to leave you a bad review. And sometimes they don't deserve they don't deserve their money back, and they're just trying to play games. So that's why you have to read and kind of make sure you understand what they're reviewing about. Because some of the reviews are complete bullshit. Like, oh, they didn't have any napkins on the table. Bad review. It's like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Right.
Yeah, like I said,
Karens.
I think I told Phil one time. I said one customer, was saying that, oh yeah, the guys. Well, now we get, obviously you guys get hot weather. So when we get those hot weather days, it's a different breed. So like when we get like 90, 95 degree weather, that's hot for New York. So, Florida, we know y'all get into the hundreds. So, when we get the 95 degree weather and we got to climb up to the 3rd floor, because I know y'all don't have too many high rises out there. That it's real, so the guys moving as efficiently as possible. customers like, oh yeah, I had to give the guy some water, or whatever the case is, but I felt like they were moving super slow. Like they could have been a lot faster. I could have probably got it done faster looking at how they were moving. And it's like, well, if you felt like you could get it done faster, why didn't you just do it yourself?
We just had a customer complain that the guys were sweating too much. She said that they were sweating too much. She told them to slow down, and then she complained that it took too long. I swear to God.
Yeah.
That's going to be part of our reality TV show there, buddy.
I said, you told the guys to slow down. They're sweating too much, and then you tell them it took too long. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, the same customer that once told us that, oh, you guys could have been a whole lot faster. I think I could have did it faster. And I said, hey, why didn't you do it yourself then? He was like, well, I'm 55 and I got a bad back.
Everybody's got a bad back when it's time to move something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. I've heard that. My back. I got a bad back. Okay, whatever. Then you're out there doing yoga every Tuesday with your friends. You ain't got no damn bad back. You're a big ass sissy. That's what you are.
So, everybody got a bad back.
I think I told you the other day, I guess I'm getting one of those things where I guess I'm getting harassed by like different attorneys right now, talking to me about a cash job that I did where a customer gave us the exact change, but they would swear that somebody else gave us more than the exact change. So now they're harassing me for like 60 or 80 bucks. I'm going to attorneys and everything, getting demand letters sent to me saying, oh yeah, they said they paid you more.
What?
For 60 or 80 bucks, they're going through a lot of work.
Yeah, that's some weird stuff. I mean, I know New York, you got a little special breed up there, but damn. There's some special. My aunt lives up there in Plattsburgh, and she tells me all the crazy things that happen up there in that area. But Florida,
that's crazy, bro.
The heat, I think, makes people really crazy down here, and we have people obviously from everywhere in the world here in Florida, so we're like a big wonder ball of damn culture and people. So, but New York, that's a whole different. I mean, it's like, are you, what's wrong with you, dude?
We're very diverse up here with the weather. Yeah. So we get like I said, we get the days where it's -3 to -7 degrees out. You gotta let your car run for at least an hour before you can even want to move it. And
you guys got basements too. My guys don't want to do nothing to do with no basements. So you guys all the damn stairs in the basements, and I want the pool table down there, buddy. We ain't going down that damn little ass stairwell with no pool table. You're gonna have to get a ping pong table or something smaller. So.
Mm-hmm. So, but we a couple of years ago for Penske, one of their preferred vendors, which is Porch Moving Group, they used to call us whenever trucks would break down, and it'll be like it's called like a reverse load. So customers would get a truck, the truck jail, I guess, will freeze up because of how cold it is, and the truck would just essentially break down. So they would have somebody else bring a truck out there, and they'll hire the movers to come out there and reverse load the truck that's already been loaded into the other truck.
Shuttling it off, yeah.
Yeah. So then now the customer will take the new truck instead, and they would just tow that old truck to the shop again to work on getting it fixed. So we came out there one night, and I think the night we came out there, I think it was like 7 degrees. And so we're like, all right, well, we're just going to reverse load this and get out of here. So we had 3 of us. One guy standing in the middle. We backed the trucks completely back together. One guy standing in the middle. One guy's loading up the other side. And I'm just running it all to them. And we just training it. Next thing now, we get done like 20, 30 minutes. My hand's starting to freeze. I got gloves, but the gloves only is really good for like up to like 30, 40 degrees. So 7 degrees is just, within 15 minutes, you're feeling it in your fingers.
That's insane. 7 degrees.
Yeah. So now we get done. I'll rush back to the car. I'm like, okay, all right, we're about to be out of here, guys. Let's get our payment. Let's go. Then the next thing, the customer's like, no, you guys are supposed to be helping me with the stuff in the house as well. What the? No. They told us to reverse load this and we were out. So we called the company. The company's like, yeah, well, we figured you will be done fast enough that you probably wouldn't mind helping in the house.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what people do.
You didn't have that in writing, so you got screwed either way. You don't have that in a contract showing what you're doing. That's why I sell my time hourly. Hey, this is our hourly rate. We have a 2-hour minimum. We'll do what you want us to do for that 2 hours, but we're not, I tell them we'll have dinner with you as long as you're paying, hey, whatever. But, that's why I like a flat rate. If you're flat rate these jobs, then you can really lose your ass quick if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I was in Florida last January, and it was like, beautiful out, like 70, 80 degrees. And in New York, when I looked at the odometer, it said -7 degrees. And my guys were like, yo, the trucks aren't starting right now. Like, nothing's kicking over. And I'm like, well, we got 3 jobs on the board for the day. Okay, well, if the trucks aren't starting, we're gonna have to reschedule this for a warmer day. So, which would likely be tomorrow, which I think it was gonna be like 20 degrees, but it's a warmer day. So it was like, so we called the customers and we like, hey, we're gonna have to reschedule this move. What do you mean? We need you to move me today. Lady, do you not see how freezing cold it is outside? Like, wow. But it's a norm in New York.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm sure, don't they do like a state of emergency if it's like a blizzard out where you can't go out? If it's
it really depends. If it feels like, I think, like if it feels like -10, -9, they'll do like a state of emergency saying that, hey, you shouldn't be outside for more than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
When those go out, then customers understand that, hey, you got to reschedule for a warmer day. But if the customers aren't outside with you, they don't care.
No. Common sense though, ain't it? I mean, but common sense is not so common anymore. So.
They're like, oh, well, if you're going to get a coffee for your guys, make sure you bring me one too. Excuse me?
Hey, throw it on your bill, no problem. That's funny.
All right, so we are getting to the top of the hour. Anything you want to leave us off, Jonathan? Anything guys can be doing to probably get some more business this winter?
I think, I was told this by another company back when I was starting. I asked them for advice, and they told me, take care of your customers, and they'll take care of you. So that's kind of what I go by. Take care of your customers, and they'll take care of you. So I think that goes back to your word of mouth. You take care of your people, and obviously they will refer you down the road to more, customers. That's the only thing I think you could do. I mean, unless I said, if you have a lot of money to spend on ads and you can kind of weed through the BS, then sure. But I think keeping it simple is not always a bad option.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I spoke to Phil about is, one of the things in these trying times is getting your numbers in order. You don't want to be overpaying your guys or paying your guys to do senseless tasks that's not going to is going to hurt your bottom line. Because if you got them doing all this unbillable work, you're not making any money. You're losing money. I heard from Phil that he said that you and him swap guys at time. Hey, that's an amazing idea where it's like, well, hey, you know what? If one person don't have to work and the next person do, hey, you know what? Keep those guys fed.
Absolutely, yeah, because they're good guys. I mean, they're good at what they do, and at the end of the day, a lot of these guys are, they're independent contractors. They can go work for anybody. I mean, you're a mover, you can go work for whoever you want. So that's what I'm saying. So I tell them, if I don't have the work for you, call Phil, see if he's got it. And if he don't, obviously, see what you can find. I mean, it's all good. I understand. I'm not like, oh, you can only work for me and me only. I mean, at the end of the day, I want you to be able to make the money. I want you to be able to stay consistent. But I tell them that moving is so hit or miss. You could be slammed for a whole week, 2 weeks, then boom, it'll just fall off.
That end of the month, first of the month scenario, end of the month so crazy, and then you get into that the bulk of that new month, and it's just like, whoa.
Yeah, everybody wants to move the end of the month. That's just like, but I've had it where it's kind of been the opposite. People want to move that first of the month, so it's so hit or miss, and it's so unpredictable. It's just, especially obviously in our area, the housing market. I don't know what it's like in New York, but our housing market is just so crazy, and it's it's so unpredictable. But that's why you have to play it by ear. I would definitely say, don't overdo yourself too. Don't go out and buy all these new trucks and buy all this equipment you can't afford to pay for, because interest is real. And now your $100,000 truck is going to cost you a Lamborghini. So you better be prepared, for that. So, keep it simple. I mean, if you have to rent trucks, rent a truck, but make sure you tell your customer, don't pretend like, hey, I got a fleet of trucks to show up in a U-Haul. That way, like, what the hell?
We used to charge a 150 fee for trucks when we did a separate truck fee. And we one time brought a 10-foot truck because that's all that was entailed by the customer's inventory. So we brought a 10-foot truck, and they were like, why would you charge me 150 if you're only going to bring this, or whatever cases? I could have got my own truck. You could have got your own truck, but you didn't. And my rates didn't change based off of what size truck we brought.
Well, inventory is never, I mean, they tell you this, but then you get there, like, well, where the hell did all that come from? Oh, well,
we forgot.
Yeah, we had a closet. Oh, we had the attic. That's why
so when you bring them that truck based off their inventory size, hey, you know what? We can't afford to move anymore. We can't move any extra items because basically you were dishonest.
Oh yeah, well, you think about it. You pull up in a one, and back when I was out in the truck, man, I remember this. Pull up in a 26-foot truck, 1-bedroom apartment. Oh, well, I didn't know you guys were going to bring that large of a truck. Can you guys take this? Like, yeah. Or no, unfortunately, we can't take this extra house because we have another job scheduled behind this.
Yeah.
I've got to a point now just to sometimes you got to tell people no. Especially when you got another client, like, I'm sorry, we have another client behind you, because people be trying to add stuff through the day, like, and I try to get my guys out in a reasonable time every day,
Yeah, we've had some jobs. We've had some jobs that went from like 9:30, very rare, 9:30, and there was like 2 jobs that ever went to like 2 a.m. in the morning. I was like, God, wow, damn. Like this was a long day, again, once we learned from that, where it's like these customers, they don't want to stop. So it's like, okay, well, hey, we knew at like 9 o'clock at night, that was already a 12-hour shift. So we knew at 9 that these guys just finished loading you. And you're now talking about, oh, well, they got to go unload. And we're like, we'll come back tomorrow and unload. Well, where am I going to sleep? Sir.
Sleep on the floor.
It was 12 hours. Like, if you would have been honest and told us you had this much stuff, we would have sent you a whole lot more people.
Yeah, the worst part, I think it is when you book that crew to have 2 or 3 moves, and then you expect the first one to be like a couple-hour job, and then they're there 6 hours. Now you have to tell the customer, hey, they're running behind. The customer, obviously they had more than they told us. So now, hey, we got to push yours back. And I feel like that's just one of those things where you end up looking bad. So we try to avoid that at all costs. Obviously, when you have 2 crews and they have multiple jobs, they try to knock it out, but it's just one of those things. You try to be as transparent. That's why I try to tell people, like, hey, I'm happy to come to your house a day before to do a walkthrough. That way we understand what you're moving. Because I understand that packing, you might not think you have a lot, but then you show up and it's like, damn, where'd all this come from? So that's why I try to be very transparent. I told them, like, hey, if you need anything, don't hesitate to call me or text me any time of the day. I don't care what time it is. If you have a question, call me or text me. That way you're prepared. I tell people, hey, if you want to save yourself money, move this, move that, move this. I'm totally okay with that. Hey, if your son wants to help unload some or move some of the small stuff, it doesn't bother me. That saves you a little bit of money. That's okay with me.
Definitely. All right, guys. So we are at the top of the hour. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Jonathan, for joining us. And we'll definitely be talking. So everybody go out, enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see y'all next week. All right, y'all. All right. Take care.
See you. Bye-bye.